This is the Blackout Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Blackout Podcast, where I get to talk to amazing people that do amazing things. And today I have Christie, an artist, and I'm super happy to have you today.
Thank you for having me.
Tell me a bit about yourself.
Myself, what's there to tell? My name's Christie and I love to draw. Ta-da!
How did you get into drawing?
I was mostly self-taught. I didn't start seriously drawing until I was about 8, but before that, I do remember making like little picture books and making little comics. In my early childhood, I grew up with Far Side and Garfield and Asterix. And I think when I was about 8, the Pokemon boom and stuff like that. So you started, my generation got exposed to, anime like Pokemon, obviously, and then Digimon, Dragon Ball Z, Sailor Moon, and then later on like Monster Rancher, Metabots, all that stuff. So I think at around that time I was like really enthralled by like Japanese entertainment. So, and it kind of opened a new kind of aesthetic to me, just how far like drawings can be pushed. Like I've always loved illustrations, just like the Japanese style always really, inspired me. And I know I'm definitely not the only one. I know millions and millions of other illustrators are also like, can attest to that. And it's since then, I think it started, I was about 8 years old. And I was given a magazine, actually, that really kind of, set me off because
What
obviously
magazine was it?
it was called An America. It was the 1999 issue. It featured Pokemon, and my mom and dad knew that I liked Pokemon, so they just showed it to me, and they just got it for me. I don't think they fully knew what was inside of it, though, because it also featured a bunch of other articles, and they showed a bunch of screenshots, like, from other anime that I wouldn't end up watching until much later, like Cowboy Bebop, Lane. What were some other ones? There were some other like retro ones, like I think I saw Battle Athletes. I was able to find the cover online actually.
Oh, wow.
I think the one that I remember like flipping through it and seeing a whole lot, but I think the one that kind of set me off the most was I saw like Cardcaptor Sakura, and I thought that kind of catered to my like cuteness. At the time I was all about like the puppies and the kitties and stuff like that, like a typical like 8-year-old girl. So I think I kind of set on that kind of art style, and I got a little obsessed, and I started to like really try to draw it, and like paper after paper full of like eye after eye, classic beginner frustration. But once I finally made something that was like a real drawing, quote unquote, I showed it to my mom. And at the time, my mom, she was getting very sick, and she was bedridden a lot of the time. So when I was able to like show her the drawing, and saw like her face light up, and she's like, "I'm so proud," that kind of, encouraged me to like do this like in the long term. I think that's what really inspired me, because before that, I was like a typical like kid where you just like, I want to do this and that, and I want to be a ballerina and a vet.
Wow.
And it never really I never really came to, but so I think since then, even after my mom passed away, I ended up still drawing, and I think I still owe it to her. Like she she kind of like gave me that inspiration, like to keep going even after she was gone, afterwards I ended up, what was it? Well, I was like the average kid, like you ended up like being a bit of a I was just a weeb kid, basically one of those Japanophiles, for a little while, like up until like from like elementary school till around junior high, and then like around what was that? Around high school, you know, I got really self-conscious about it, and I obviously like anime wasn't the only thing that I liked. I also liked a lot of like comic artists, and I liked Disney. There's so many like inspirational artists, like even more so now, like with social media and everything. And yeah, so but I was still insecure, in like what I wanted to draw. And I think there was a period in high school where I wouldn't really draw at all, even though I still really liked art. And
what happened?
I'm not really sure, to be honest. I think it was just one of those things where, typical like teen confusion where you're just like not really sure what you want to do with yourself. But yeah, like I said, I still really liked art, and I kind of wanted to, push myself a little bit more, after my dad kind of called me out and says like, you don't draw anymore. He's like, yeah, I do. Yeah, I kind of wanted to, I put together a portfolio. I was trying to like kind of get into NASCAD. I think originally I was just trying to like, work towards a goal art-wise. I remember during breaks, I remember sitting alone, just kind of drawing like the corridors and stuff like that, and the stairwells and things like that. I think I got a lot more lonely as high school like began, because I felt like I got alienated a little bit from my friends, which kind of ended up making me, have to figure myself out again. So yeah, I think I never stopped drawing though, funny enough. Like that never really, yeah, I never really left.
So did you ever get that portfolio ready to go to NASCAR, or?
Well, that was a name I definitely heard, like when I talked about like, where do I go to like do art? And they said, well, maybe NASCAD. And, there was also an Applied Communication Arts, I don't think it's called that anymore, at NSEC. And they also had like a graphic design program, which was a lot more, practical, and a lot more, it was more lucrative. Like, you work, basically. You're not starving in a loft, as, as one of my profs said. Even so, what was it? I ended up going to NSEC for like the applied arts program, and I wasn't really sure. I kind of wanted to get into the graphic design program, because I was like, well, NASCAD's like, not gonna get me a job and stuff. And yeah, I just I don't know what really made me change my mind. I think probably like a stupid decision. I think I botched, I do remember, I think I botched the application for the graphic design program at NSEC.
How?
I can't remember, to be honest. It was something about like how my transcript was printed. But yeah, it was a stupid thing. So I was just like, oh no, what do? I don't want to be on a wait list. So I was just like, well, I mean, the program also does does it as a jumping off point for NASCAD. So I was like, okay, I'll do NASCAD. I wasn't really initially going to, but I did. And in a way, I'm kind of glad I ended up getting in. And it was kind of what I thought it was going to be, at least in the foundation year, because you're kind of, you know how NASCAD is. It's very like art for for art's sake, and you're like, you're exploring so many like avant-garde and kind of like risque things, like seeing gay pornography with a voice over it, like things like that. Like one time I was late for class. One time I was late for film and video class, and I was like, oh no. So I walk in, and the lights were off, and there was a video playing, and it was just a naked guy like doing like interpretive dance while Adagio for the strings was playing, and I was just like, what the fuck? And I was just like, yeah, well, I guess it was NASCAD, huh? But, you know, like, after foundation year, you're able to, like, go into, like, a major. So I was like, okay, I wanted to go into design at NSEC, so I'll do design at NASCAD. So, and, yeah, it was kind of weird. But I think I definitely would have preferred it over, like, fine arts, because I think they were more welcoming of illustration, although they weren't as open to, like, my kind of style as you know, I was hoping they'd be. But there was a minor in illustration, which I was definitely, like, all about, because they valued things like story and kind of, like, creativity, whereas, like, kind of design, you just want to, you know, you want to make something that's kind of more marketable and things like that. So it was,
Which one did you do, though?
Oh, which one did I do? Or which one did I prefer? I guess definitely illustration. I felt like, you know, I like story a lot more. You know, I like characters. I like expressions and things like that. Yeah, you know, I wasn't allowed to be my big geeky self, and, like, you know.
So and then how was the period your stay in NASCAD?
It was mostly good. I ended up like bonding quite a bit to my classmates, even though I wasn't entirely sure if design was something that I wanted to do, like, ultimately. And I was like, I think I really do want to just be an illustrator and not do, like, graphic design, just because, you know, it pays. And it does. But all the same, I you know, the whole follow your heart and junk. I'm very corny. Yeah.
Corny is good. I like corny. Then what are some things you illustrated while you were in NASCAD?
Things that I illustrated. Well, in the minor, I remember they started us off by doing, like, a little editorial kind of comic, which is really interesting, because, like, you know, you have to be like you have to read an article for the news, you know, kind of make something based off of that. I think my two favorite assignments, though, my teacher made us. He assigned us to storyboard scripts from the movie Up.
Oh.
Yeah, so that was really cool.
How was that? Because I really, actually, you know, I've seen a lot of love stories,
Yeah.
but the first, I think, 7 minutes of that film is one of the best love stories I've ever seen.
It's intense, yeah. And I didn't get assigned that one, unfortunately. It was two other students, but yeah, that was still, like, really. I think it was really fun to, like, you know, be able to tell a story again. And I think at the end he wanted us, yeah, my other favorite assignment, he wanted us to do a comic book, and I picked what was it? I picked Glooscap and the Water Monster.
Oh, like to create your own?
Yeah.
Holy smokes! Do you have that?
Oh, I should have, but I think it's back at my dad's place.
What was your is that? I don't know. Is that like an actual? I mean, is that a legend of some kind?
Yeah, it was a legend. I was trying to think about what to really make a comic about, and my fiance, who was still my boyfriend at the time, he was kind of he was all about legends and things like that. So he showed me one of his, like, favorite ones that he was all about right now, and, like, Glooscap versus the Water Monster is basically, spoiler, it's how the first frog was made.
Oh,
Because
wow.
Glooscap, like, fights a water monster that's poisoning, like, the rivers, and, you know, because Glooscap is such a badass, he just, like, takes them and he squishes them down, and then he turns into a bullfrog, and yeah.
Okay, wow. And how many panels did you have for that comic?
Man, I can't really remember. I don't think there is a whole lot of panels. A part of me kind of wants it to be reprinted, because I did kind of, at the time I was really, like, exploring things like brush pen. That was, like, my go-to. It still kind of is, but yeah, for drawing. Like, you got a lot of really good textures, like with the brush pen and stuff like that. And I saw so many good art, like with people, doing all these really fine lines. And I don't know if I was quite, like, I still don't think I'm quite as delicate as that, although I try to be, but I still think I'm very heavy-handed. But I think with that comic, with the textures and everything, I was able to do like the big strokes and stuff like that and not feel afraid.
Oh wow! So and then when you left NASCAR, what was the next thing you did?
What was the next thing? I didn't do really much. I was just working like odd jobs. Still am.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like these days I'm just kind of like working various jobs, I wasn't really sure like how to put myself out there. I think having, the thing about anxiety is that it kind of really holds you back, and I kind of, when it comes to like being an artist, like you have to like really put yourself out there and really network, and that was always really tough for me. I don't even know how like I got this. I don't even know.
Well, I know how. Vidal, so a friend of mine, Seth Vidal,
Yes, Seth.
showed me this artwork for his album, like I think for his album, and I'm
Yeah.
like, who did that? And it's, he said it was, that's how I reached out to you. I remember seeing that, and it was amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Talking of that, let's talk of some of this thing, the artwork you have in your book here.
So, when I was younger, I was always I always avoided fan art because I was like, oh, I want to always do something original. But, as I got exposed to, like, the art community online, I saw so many, like, great depictions of, like, shows and games and things that I really loved. So, I ended up doing quite a bit. I started exploring fan art a lot more. So this is so
I'll help you on this side.
I kind of wanted to be able to make prints of these for some of them, but I just didn't know like who would be interested in things like that.
Lots of people can assure you that.
These are all just kind of games. This one is this one here. I think this one is Night. It's a little cute kind of horror game. It's called Night Alone. It has a Japanese name, but I won't say it. It's just kind of
okay, fair enough. And this girl.
This is Katsuragi from Senran Kagura. It's a very kind of perverted brawler game, but I had a lot of fun with it. That was another thing that I was a little bit afraid of when I was younger. I was worried about sex appeal and stuff like that. But these days I've become like I've had a lot more of affinity towards like pinup artists and things like that.
Okay.
So yeah. This is honestly just like this is just not so much a portfolio so much as where I just shove all of the finished drawings that I do. What's that? Oh, this is all of the other reindeer. Thing about with fan art. So while I am exploring fan art a lot more,
yeah,
I don't want to. Something that I kind of made a promise to myself. I want to make fan art that means something to me, and not just stuff that I think will get a lot of likes.
Fair enough.
Yeah, say, let's see. Like the Little Witch Academia one. That one ended up being pretty popular online, and it also kind of coincided, with my values. So it was something that meant a lot to me. So, I didn't do it because I got a lot of likes. It's kind of I'm still trying to figure out where artistic integrity comes in. But yeah, most of these days I'm kind of following, the stuff that, means something to me.
Yeah.
This one here is a game like Red Ninja. It wasn't a very good game or a popular game, but I had fond memories of it all the same.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it's just kind of This is just kind of the little storage for like anything that doesn't end up in my sketchbook. But yeah. And like I have some original stuff in here too, like I did like a succubus. I think most of these ended up on my Tumblr, even though I don't really use Tumblr so much. A lot of since Tumblr changed their policy.
Yeah, that was crazy. I'm not sure what that story is about because the things that saying they got rid of is still on Tumblr anyway.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was supposed to be like here. It was supposed to get rid of, illegal activity like porn bots and child pornography because that's what they ended up finding on the site. But they kind of ended up throwing like a bunch of artists under the bus because they're just like, well, no female presenting nipples. And it's just like, but it's, it's a boob. It's just a boob. Yeah, so it's most of the time everything is on my Instagram.
Yeah.
So, but I think maybe like I'll eventually like repost these like maybe on my Instagram and things like that. And there's still some more blank stuff to go. So
what is your Instagram anyway?
My Instagram, it's nothing truly remarkable or anything.
Like the handle?
Oh, it's Thursday. It's just a mix up of my name. You can say it Kirsty or Thursday. I don't
That's
really.
Why I say Kirsty.
I don't really. I just.
What was it? CIRSTEH,
all lowercase.
Okay.
It's just a mix up of my first name without the extra I. I don't know why I made it up. I just wanted to be original because, well, I mean, like nobody else had it, so.
It worked.
Yeah.
What is your process when you decide? So you see something you want to draw. Mm-hmm. From then till when it's finished, what is that process?
Well, let's see. I don't really have like a very consistent progress because I think it really varies from what I'm aiming for with a piece, but for me, like it's also a good chance to really explore like art supplies and things like that. Maybe it's something that I didn't really, maybe something I kind of neglected. And let's see. So I guess one example would be like some drawings here, I wanted to like explore with like marker, and others I wanted to like use watercolor. And there are others that are like digital, and unfortunately they can't be in the portfolio right now. So it really, I'm never really like consistent. And I know some people might say that's a bad thing, but I don't know. I think it might be used to your advantage, like in my opinion, because it means that you could be versatile as well.
Wherever you want to work. And with the digital work, which one of them do you prefer, digital or hand drawn?
I love hand drawn. And I really, really wanted to like love digital. And I'm still trying it out. I actually have an iPad that I'm kind of like dabbling into Procreate with, and it's very like, it gives off that feeling that I get when I'm doing traditional art. So I might show like what I've been working on like digitally, like in terms of like the iPad and stuff like that. I'm just still a little bit shy about it. Eventually I will though. Don't worry. And
would you say that your art has helped with your anxiety?
Yeah, I'd say it has, sometimes I kind of really, a part of me kind of wonders, like, why didn't I choose something else, like something like in the STEM fields or something like that, and, part of it was like, I suck at math. I'm really bad at math, so that's kind of that's kind of the no-brainer there, so. So it was just like, well, okay. So it always kind of made me wonder, like, why I'm the way I am. Like most kids kind of just stop drawing, and I'm like one of the few that kind of kept going for some reason, and that's something that a lot of people in the art community, like, they relay. It's just like I was just the kid that drew, and it's just like I was also the kid that drew. And I don't know, I think there's I don't want to like make it sound like we're like, oh, we're such a spectacular, special, like ultra human race or something like that, but like there is like something kind of like special about it. It's just like what brought people to like, keep drawing and keep exploring art when most people would stop, but yeah, I do think that it does help with my anxiety. I think it's kind of it keeps me youthful. I don't know. I don't know. And I think I was able to be it allows me to be a little more young at heart. I think that's I think that's what a lot of illustrators can attest to, because so many of them I love video games and comics and anime and cartoons, and I was like, oh my god, I love those too. So yeah, we're all illustrators most of us are just a bunch of dorks, but that's okay.
Okay. So with album covers, because you tend to do a few of those, you've done a number of those. What do you have what happens? So I'm an artist. I'm like, yeah, my album is ready. What do I do? Do I send you songs to listen to? Well, how does that work?
These days, let's see. So Seth, when he started out, he just showed me like what he was trying to go for. Like he showed me images, and what was it?
That's
He showed
Seth
me
Vidal?
yes, Seth Vidal Gabriel. That was his that's his real name, but like Vidal Gabriel, yeah, that's his moniker.
Yeah.
He showed me like what he was kind of aiming for. Like he'd show me like reference, like there's a lot of reference pictures going on. He showed me like the inside of like a studio. I think it may have been his studio. It's been in quite a while. So I think, yeah, again, like I said before, I'm not too consistent. It's kind of like whatever I just kind of try and go with whatever might work the best. And that one, I think it was mostly digital. I gave it a lot of warm feelings. And the one that I have, the one that I'm working on right now, it's kind of like a mix of both. So I'm doing like a lot of inking, but I'm also like putting it in and like coloring it digitally.
Why do you have to do? Why are you working on both hand drawn and on your computer?
Well, I mean, I think it's a good opportunity for me to really explore like both mediums, and to not be afraid of technology, first of all, but also, there's a lot of potential, for both to come together. And when they do, it can look really great, from what I've seen. So I don't know if it gets the same effect in my case, but I want to try and achieve that. Like digital can really, make people it's very clean. Like it's very clean, but it can also be like painterly. So like there's a lot of versatility in that I really want to explore more, but I'll always like come back to traditional because it's so fun and dirty. It's so much ink on the hands and stuff.
So, and then what are some of the materials you do your hand drawn work with?
Let's see. So, let me hear. So I actually here. Sometimes when I go out and about, I have my sketchbook here, but I also I like to use watercolor. This was actually something that I got recently, like a little flip watercolors and stuff like that. I'm still kind of getting used to it, but yeah. So watercolor is one medium. I use pencil as an undersketch. I still love ink, but I'm trying to maybe soften my edges a little bit more. but I'll always like love ink just because of like the way it makes everything like so crisp and like, it can get like little details like with hatching and stuff like that. It's just kind of, oh man. I wish I was as good as some of the better artists, like some of the like the most famous one, like I think right now is like Kim Jung-Yi. He's a South Korean illustrator. He can just draw with a brush pen on the fly. He has like such a massive like visual library, and he's like a master. He has like so many like tutorials, and he does like little seminars. I don't think he'll ever come to Halifax, unfortunately.
Has he been to Canada though?
Has he been to Canada? I'm not really sure. I think he mostly goes to France, but don't quote me on that. I don't know.
Fair enough.
I think he does go like.
Does he
all
do
around the world.
online tutorials?
I don't think.
Talking
I
of
don't
that,
think.
do you watch any of all those YouTube videos for doing what you do?
Oh, like YouTube videos?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love looking at like YouTube videos like for tutorials. Like I always want to learn new stuff. Like I feel like whenever I'm kind of burnt out and kind of feeling a little bit low about like where I'm going with like my art, because I'm always feeling that way. I'm always being inspired like by different people, and sometimes that can be like overwhelming. I find because there's so many, like the art community can be it's so massive now, especially online. It has a massive online presence, but it can also be like oversaturated. And that was the common saying about like being an artist. It's like it's so oversaturated. But yeah, it's kind of a double-edged sword. But yes, I'm on one hand I'm definitely like learning new things, like and new techniques from people. At the same time, I'm also trying to like get in here. Basically, I'm pointing at my chest for people who can't see, like getting into like myself and like building my own visual library.
Yeah.
And so when I bring something to the table, it might be something a little different. Yeah, I guess I'm definitely like learning new things and tutorials. You can't go wrong with those.
Great. Okay, I'm gonna end with this one though. Say someone wants to start drawing, or they have that side of them that makes them doubt their capability to draw. Like, I want to draw, but I don't know if I can, or I'm good at this. What kind of advice would you give such a person?
Well, I mean, the most common piece of advice is like, one, you gotta persist. If you're serious about drawing, you just gotta be persistent. It's not gonna come right away, obviously. It's like it's a process. I definitely would recommend like studying anatomy. And there was also, what was it? There's a saying, good artists copy, great artists steal, I do believe. So it's like, don't be afraid to like copy, like don't be afraid to trace, just as long as you're not presenting it as your own original content. There's nothing wrong like using references and things like that, like to start off. If you feel like you're not good, don't worry, because everybody feels they're not good. I still feel like I'm not good like half of the time, but it's if you have it in you to keep going, and you like the what is it, the visualization that you have in your head is so strong, like it's you'll keep going, like if it's there. You know what I mean? And just draw. Try to fill up a sketchbook. It doesn't need to be great. There's so much pressure to make a sketchbook that's like these beautiful like drawings, like some of the better artists out there like do. But like you can make shit. You can make shit. There's nothing wrong. I think a lot of people worry, myself included. You feel kind of art guilt, like you're not like, I'm not doing enough of this and stuff like that. We're just like, I'm not drawing enough of like this and that and this and that, and just like, what was it? You're not posting online enough. Like, you don't have to post everything that you draw online. It's okay to like have some things on yourself, like to yourself, and like put it out there when you're ready. yeah, it's like there's no problem still learning, just as long as, as long as you keep at it and like, you're willing to improve. I guess that's another one. Like, definitely be willing to accept criticism. It can be hard, but if you go to art school, that's the one thing they kind of beat into you. Like, if you take any kind of art course, they're just like, be ready for critique. They're what's the saying? The shit sandwich. Or you say something good, say something bad, and then you end it off with something good, because like there's always something good and bad that like people have to offer. I hope I explained that well enough.
No, you did. Thank you very much for coming in today, Christie.
No problem. Thank you.
This is the Blackout Podcast. Thanks for listening.